So, as Rebecca said, good news, authentic relating, we're doing it already. All right. And authentic relating is, I could just quickly, the historical aspect of it is I find it fascinating. It's like this massive worldwide movement now. There's authentic relating communities in 60 cities. There's 6 major schools, 3 of which do online, such as this. You can actually circle online every day if you like to. And I personally did it myself for 18 months. I was every day circling. I'm in love with the practice. It's a very, very fast way of getting to the truth of where we're at inside emotionally and where we're at in terms of relations to other people and how we impact other people, how other people can impact us. I found it very deeply transformational for me. My life has just kind of taken off since then. I've moved to Asheville. I'm building community. I'm dating. I'm starting businesses. I'm kind of living my dream life here, largely thanks to the authentic relating practice. Okay. And now I'm in this process with Rebecca that we're starting this business, which is super exciting for me. And so that's sort of my place within the movement and where it's happening with the movement. So there's 2 primary practices. One is authentic relating games, and the other is circling. And we're kind of circling here. At least we're attempting to model for you what the circling practice is. And we're doing what's called topical circling around sexuality, dating, and romance. Okay, so it's a circle in which there's a shared desire to talk about a topic, which is, in this case, it's our sexual and romantic lives and the state of our relationships, right? And what it's about, I mean, conceptually, it is extraordinarily simple. There's really 2 parts of it. The first part is vulnerability, which is revealing who I am, what I want, what I need. And the second part is essentially empathy. It's understanding, reflecting back what we see, what we discern, what we feel about the other person and how we relate to it. Okay. That's basically what it is. So I could say more, but the problem is you can talk a lot and not really communicate anything because it really needs to be experienced. It's a practice more than it's an experience more than a philosophy or a practice. All right. So what we're trying to give you today is the experience, and my fear is the more I talk, the less you're going to experience. So I'm going to zip it up now and see if Rebecca has anything to add.
Well, actually, I want to toss it back to you and just ask you to say a little bit more about the components of circling if someone is being quote unquote circled, which is a skill that you can use when you're on a date, right? So what are those components?
Actually, that's an excellent point. Is you don't have to limit your circling to formal groups. So we're gathered today intention to have a deeper conversation. So we have sort of a shared agreement. But the beauty of circling is you can do it with anyone, whether they know that you're doing it or not. Because the bottom line is everybody wants to love and be loved. Everyone wants to feel connected. Most people want more sexual expression. Many people want more partnership in their lives. Everybody wants more fun, right? So if you can amplify those and validate those needs and desires, your relationships are going to be a home run, right? So specifically, how you do it is having the courage to speak about what is true for you, right? And we're subject, and I could go on about this. I'm going to keep this very short, but we're in a cultural context that shames us for having sexual feelings and sexual needs. And there's this conspiracy of silence around talking about this. It's not allowed to do it except in the bedroom and the therapy office. So what chance do we have of having successful relationships, and particularly having successful sexual relationships, if we can't talk about the reason we're there, right? So when we're dating, the clear objective is we want more sexual expression, we want more connection, and in some cases we want partnership or fun. So those would be the 3 primary goals of dating. And if one of them is a subject of embarrassment, and we're not revealing our needs and desires, Not going to work. So again, I hate to talk too much. I could share just an anecdote, all right? An anecdote. So it's more, this tends to be more interesting than giving philosophy. So I was at a group last week. It wasn't an authentic relating circle. It's called Radical Honesty. And the prompt was, tell us something that you lied about recently or that you're out of integrity with. And I said, okay, here's my out of integrity. I'm an authentic relating leader, right? I can talk a big game. I got books, I got podcasts, blah, 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 okay? But when it comes to actually me, the truth of the matter is I actually like to hide behind the computer. I'm terrified going out and meeting people on the street. I'm terrified of going on dates. I'm terrified of sex, right? And it takes a huge effort for me to actually do that, right? With the result that a good deal of the time I'm feeling like the lonely loneliness. Who's responsible for that? Me, because I don't leave the house. Okay? So that's an example of authentic relating. You can say things like this on a date. You can say things like that on a date, and what people don't realize is that vulnerability is very attractive. It's not just attractive, it also it gives people safety for them to show up more of themselves. Mm-hmm. Ideally, this process just keeps on amplifying and building. You say more, it gives them permission to say more, you say more still, and it can get kind of ecstatic. And particularly in an area where we're so hung up and so, some of us more than others, which is the area of sexuality. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, one of the things that I'm struck by listening to you is, this cultivation of vulnerability requires us to be willing to, first of all, be vulnerable to ourselves. And often what we do is we project our own judgments or the judgments we've onto other people. We assume they're going to judge us, and therefore we have to hide this thing about ourselves. And also we energetically often attract people who will prove us right. If we believe that nobody wants to hear that we like tying people up or being tied up, then those are the people we're going to attract so that we get to go, see, I was right. Cool. So first of all, it's being willing to be vulnerable with self. Then it's going and practicing in a ready-made group like this, where you know that you will be received. That's already the agreement of the container. And then you can take it out into the world. And I have a saying that I love. Now we're falling into dating strategy, but it's Q-tip. Quit taking it personally. When you are willing to reveal who you truly are, and if someone comes up with anything about that, either positive or negative, it's not about you. It's about them. It really is just an expression. Can we, and this is another part of authentic relating and circling, which is listening with no point of view. Just being willing to hear where people are at and not feel like we have to do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just being in presence, being in a beingness state.
Mm-hmm.
Just focusing on who we're being in the interaction. The quality of presence, the quality of attention, the quality of really that love, right? Love is essentially attention, right?
Right.
It's non-judgmental attention.
Well, and the other components of circling is that when someone, in order to make the space where someone else can reveal themselves to you, is which you've been modeling beautifully tonight, Mark, is reflective listening. What I heard you say is, so that you're relating to people from a space that lets them know that they have been heard, they have been received, they have been seen. And the second thing is what's alive for me now, or the impact what you just said had on me, which is being very present to yourself. So being willing to receive share their authenticity with your own authenticity. And in that you can create more and more aliveness and more and more connection.